Kung Fu Panda, the Paul who cried ghost. One dull afternoon, Paul and the Furious Five were amusing themselves by telling scary stories. When it was finally his turn, Paul knew exactly what story he would tell. Paul cleared his throat. Prepare yourselves for the incredible true story of the Jiangshi, the hopping ghosts. Every year we honor our departed ancestors at the Ghost Festival. But when the proper respect is not paid, the dead can turn nasty. The undead corpse transforms into a jiangshi and prowls the earth, lusting after the blood and brains of the living. Paul continued. Saved from being dead and junk, they're forced to hop around in a hideous, unbandy fashion. They can fly through the air, walk through walls, freeze you with their horrible death breath. Their next victim could be you. Tigress spoke up. That's terrifying, Paul. If I were 4, everyone laughed except Paul. Tigress looked at Paul curiously. You don't really believe all those old stories, do you? Yes, Paul answered. Ghosts are real. That's why I've read every ghost scroll in the library. No one likes a ghost smarty pants, Paul, Monkey said. Perhaps, Paul replied. But if we ever run into a hopping ghost, you won't know what to do, and I will. Just at that moment, Shifu entered the room. Paul, there are no such things as ghosts, he said. But in spite of the facts, many people do believe. We just received a report from the countryside of strange apparitions. As head of the Jade Palace, I must investigate these reports personally, even if they are utter nonsense. Shifu pointed to Paul. And you are going with me, he said. Paul suddenly looked nervous. I would love to, he said. Oh, look at the time. I was supposed to visit my dad in Mongolia for a week. Shifu stayed firm. You're going, he told Paul, and that's final. Paul followed Shifu as he led them through the dark and spooky night. Paul sang to calm his nerves. La la la, scared to death. La la la, panicky sweat. Paul, Shifu said sternly, you can stop singing now. We have arrived at the Valley of Peace Cemetery. Paul and Shifu met up with the undertaker in charge of the cemetery. We're here to investigate strange apparitions, Paul said. The undertaker smiled. You mean like this? Paul screamed. The undertaker held up a head. It looked like a hopping ghost. The undertaker laughed. It's only a mask. I'm afraid the local kids have been playing pranks in my graveyard. Now everyone thinks we are haunted. Shifu turned to Paul. See, I told you, there are no ghosts. At that moment, there was a loud clap of thunder, and it started to rain. The undertaker told Shifu and Po they were welcome to stay the night. A few minutes later, Po was alone, trying to fall asleep. He kept hearing strange noises. He talked to himself to calm down. Relax. It's just the wind, he told himself. There are no ghosts. Po sniffed. He smelled something terrible coming from under his arm. Note to self, he said. Bathe more. Suddenly, he saw a small creature in front of him, hissing. Its face looked a lot like the Undertaker's mask. Paul laughed. Nice mask, Shifu, but you're wasting your time. Paul tried to pull the mask off, but it wouldn't budge. The creature hissed again. Paul gulped. It wasn't Master Shifu. Paul fought with the hopping ghost and knocked its head off. Not so tough without your body now, are you? Paul taunted. But then the ghost hissed its terrible death breath right in Paul's face. Death breath, Paul whispered and then fainted. Shifu walked into Paul's room. The hopping ghost quickly disappeared. Paul, Shifu shouted, did you borrow my loofah again? Paul woke up. Master Shifu, he cried. Fangs, claws, death breath. It's a hopping ghost. At this, the Undertaker appeared in the doorway. A hopping ghost? That's impossible. But Poe insisted. It was going to feast on my brains, but I knocked its head off. You mean this head? Shifu asked. Ah! Poe screamed. Shifu was holding up another mask. Pack your things, Shifu told Poe. We're going home immediately. Poe knew he was in trouble. When they got back to the Jade Palace, he decided his only option was to apologize to Shifu immediately. I have been acting like a scared little kid, Poe said, but from now on, I'll be rational and fearless. You're not going to hear any more terrified shrieks out of me. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Shifu said. Paul looked around. There were two hopping ghosts standing right next to him. You were right all along, Shifu said. They must have followed us back here. The hopping ghosts attacked Shifu and Po. They tried to fight them off, but one ghost made Shifu faint with its horrible death breath. Then the two ghosts carried Shifu away. Tigers and monkey ran into Shifu's room. Shifu's been kidnapped by hopping ghosts, Paul told them. This time, Tigers and monkey didn't laugh at Paul. Shifu's in big trouble if we don't find him, Paul continued. And I think I know where to start looking. Paul brought Monkey and Tigers to the Valley of Peace Cemetery. What did these ghosts look like? Monkey asked. They were all shriveled and icky, Paul said. Monkey and Tigers gasped. Plus, they make horrible sounds in their mouth holes, Paul continued. Monkey and Tigers gasped again. No, it's more like Paul said. Tigress turned Paul around. There were 8 hopping girls right behind him. Let's get out of here, Monkey screamed. The trio started to run, but the Undertaker blocked their path. It's okay, Paul assured Monkey and Tigress. It's just the Undertaker guy. Am I glad to see you? The Undertaker exclaimed. I know, Paul said. The ghosts are real. This is bad. You don't know the half of it, the Undertaker said, looking directly at Paul. I'm just a simple soul who's raising an undead army to conquer China. All I needed was a warrior to lead that army. I tried to get you, but since you were such a fraidy panda, I decided to find someone even better. The trio turned just in time to see the lid of the coffin opening. They heard a hiss and then saw a familiar face. It was Shifu. He's been bitten by the jiangshi. He's being zombified, Paul cried. Guys, we can still save Shifu. He will turn back to normal at sunrise if he hasn't feasted on our brains yet. The trio fought the hopping ghosts as hard as they could, but it was no use. There were just too many of them. Don't shove, the Undertaker told the ghosts. There are plenty of brains for everyone. Then Paul noticed something. The Undertaker is controlling the ghosts with the staff, he said. After a furious battle, Paul grabbed the staff out of the Undertaker's hands. He waved it triumphantly. Ha! Who's your ghost, Daddy? And Daddy's, he shouted. Give me my stuff, the Undertaker shouted. You have no idea how to use its power. I think I do, Paul replied. He turned to all the hopping ghosts. I command you all, forget your anger. Return to the earth and be at peace forever. The ghosts sighed with relief and sank into the earth. The Undertaker was furious. I will get you for this. My vengeance will be terrible. Paul waved his staff. Ghost guys, wait. I forgot something. The ghost returned. Paul pointed at the Undertaker. Could you drop him off at Chagrin prison first? The ghost hissed and dragged the Undertaker away. I love a happy ending, Paul said. Suddenly, Shifu was next to him, hissing. Paul waved the staff at him. Get back, sort of undead Shifu. But the staff had no effect on Shifu. It's because he's not fully a ghost yet, Paul explained. But if Shifu eats our brains before sunrise, he'll become a jiangshi permanently. Shifu was too strong, even for the 3 warriors. There's no way to fight him, Tiger said. We'll have to be ghosts ourselves, Paul finished for her. Paul found a leftover hopping ghost head. Then he let it bite him, so he would become a ghost too. After I'm beaten, I may only have a few minutes of Paul left, he told Tigress and Monkey. I'll try to keep Shifu off of you until sunrise. After the ghost beat Paul, his eyes and voice changed. He even had fangs. Awesome, he hissed. Paul and Shifu battled, flying through walls and spewing their death breath at each other. Finally, Paul knocked Shifu out. Paul looked at Tigers and hissed. But then Monkey saw a beam of sunlight. Tigers and Monkey opened the door, and sunlight streamed in. Paul immediately became his normal self. I didn't eat anyone's brain, did I? Shifu walked up as well. Are the ghosts gone? He asked. Looks that way, Master. We're safe. Paul burped and a horrible smell filled the air. Ew, sorry. Leftover death breath. The next day, Paul was back at the Jade Palace telling ghost stories. Undead Shifu crept closer. His horrified victims suddenly realized that Paul had been right about everything. Wah ha 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 ha. Shifu sighed. Yes, Paul, for the 100th time, you were right and we were wrong. Go, smarty pants, Monkey grumbled.